Massive 3 points collected by Manchester United today. Massive 3 points, honestly. You can see a big smile on my face. And you're not going to see the typical rant that I usually post on YouTube for you a lot today. As I'm super happy with the team spirit shown by the team. Wouldn't say I was specifically happy with the way we played throughout the 90 minutes of the game. But still, 3 points is 3 points. It doesn't matter how you win a game, how you collect the 3 points. Most important thing in football is to win a game, and we've done that today. Now, I'll be honest with you, I was critical with Ruben Amorim before the game even kick-started. I looked at the lineup, I saw three centre halves with the usual 3-4-3 system where he plays with three centre halves. I saw three centre halves with who are left-footed basically. So Lisandro Martinez, obviously he's a left-footed player. Aiden Heaven, he's another left-footed player, and Luke Shaw, obviously, he's a left-footed player. So I was thinking how we would set up today, given all those three players are left-footed, given how dangerous Newcastle's winger Anthony Gordon is, who can obviously exploit the weakness of a centre-back using his pace and dribbling, and obviously what he relies on is crossing the ball into the box with both his feet or driving into the box, running past his defender. But what did Ruben Amorim do today? For the first time in history, the man said even the Pope cannot change my system, the way I set up the team, the formation I usually use. But today he set Manchester United up as a 4-3-3. 4-3-3 Ruben Amorim? You told me you'll never change from a three-back formation. At least I'm happy that Ruben Amorim was happy to change the system given how weak our team currently is with the amount of injuries that we are currently facing with and the amount of people that are unavailable because of them representing their nations in the AFCON. I think this was a call that a lot of Manchester United supporters and fans wished Ruben Amorim would implement, and I'm super happy that he did. The way he set the team up was Luke Shaw playing the left back role, a role that he's the most effective in my opinion, a role that he's played in throughout his career. He started as a left back today. Lisandro Martinez and Aiden Heaven were the two centre halves, with Dalot playing the right back role, Ugarte and Casemiro playing just behind Mason Mount in the midfield, with Cunha on the left wing, Patrick Dogu, the surprise inclusion, on the right wing, and Benjamin Sesko as the striker. Now, you know how critical I've been of Patrick Dogu, and me being very harsh on him on certain videos where I've gone into him and said that he's not Manchester United worth. He's not a player that should represent Manchester United. He's not a player who should play for Manchester United, irrespective of his age or the price tag that we did get him in for. But today, I think Patrick Dogu was one of the best players on the field for us. I thought the way he played the game today in a position that he's probably not played a lot in his career as a right winger. I know at Lecce before he joined Manchester United, he did play the right back role quite often, but a right wing role is completely different from a right back role given how much more you need to focus in the attacking areas as a right winger. And today, Patrick Dogu, lot of respect for you. I won't take back the criticism that I've had for you in the past videos, but sometimes I can as a man, I've got to give you all the respect for the performance you put in last night. The goal that Patrick Dogu took as well in the 23rd minute of the game, Diogo Dalot took a long throw in, Nick Waltemada heading it. The ball, it was a loose ball, and Patrick Dogu lashed onto the volley, put it into the bottom corner with a ferocious hit, in my opinion, and giving Ramsdale no chance at all. and that was the difference for Manchester United in this game against Newcastle United, helping us get the 3 points. Now, I thought we had a very good first half display, in my opinion. I thought we created a lot of chances, whether it was us in possession of the ball, building the attack from the back, or whether it was us in the transition or counter attacks, where I do think we were very good. The chances that we created in the first half were a lot more compared to Newcastle. I would say the chances that we created in the first half were more than the chances Newcastle created throughout the game. Even if you look at the opening 3 minutes of the game, when we had a corner, Casemiro, open header, he got away from his man, and in my opinion should have done a lot better from the header that he did execute, which was way off target. I think he should have done a lot better, at least hit the target. I'm not saying you have to score all those opportunities, but in my opinion, that was a massive chance for Casemiro in the opening 3 minutes of the game to set the tempo right for us. Then moving on, I think Newcastle kept a hold of the ball after our strong start in the first 10 minutes. Eddie Howe kind of altered the way Newcastle were going to play, obviously, in the game. Obviously, he didn't know Manchester United were going to set up as a 4-3-3 throughout the first half. So Eddie Howe made a few changes, got Newcastle to set up in the way to kind of counter the 4-3-3 set up by Ruben Amorim. But after that, even in the 12th minute, that was Newcastle's probably best chance in the game, when off the corner kick, Lamens made a massive save to keep it 0-0. After that, obviously, Diogo Dalot with a long throw in, Nick Waltemada's header clearance was a loose ball which Patrick Dogu latched on to make it 1-0 for Manchester United. A tremendous finish past the goalkeeper that gave Manchester United the lead in the 23rd minute of the game. And after that, I would say we did create a lot more chances. Cunha carrying the ball very well in 2 or 3 occasions in that first half, creating a few chances. I remember one where Cunha, with a beautiful flick, like a Brazilian, that flary kind of player, Cunha used a lovely skill to go past the midfielders, played Patrick Dogu out wide. He was 1v1 against his man, took it onto his right foot. His shot was parried away by the keeper Ramsdale. But after that, I think in the last 5 to 6 minutes before the first half whistle, Newcastle tried to pressure us, kept hold of the ball, tried to create a few chances. Gordon trying to cross the ball into the box, Jacob Murphy trying to cross the ball into the box, but to no avail, as the crosses did not find their man Nick Waltemada or the other on-rushing Newcastle players who were crashing into the box. I would say the back line was tremendous, in my opinion. The positioning was great, especially of Licha Martinez and Aiden Heaven. They were colossal in this game. Colossal, in my opinion. Tremendous display. Didn't put a foot wrong at all. Both Heaven as well as Licha Martinez. I think this is the best centre half duo display from Manchester United centre halves this season, because whenever a centre half has performed well for us, it's usually been one out of the two usually throughout the game. Usually De Ligt, when he's fit, I think he's apart from one game, has been tremendous. He's been a rock at the back for us. In my opinion, we have been missing him. Especially in the last few games, a game against Aston Villa last week, having him in the back line would have been a lot better given his leadership qualities. But I think Aiden Heaven, given that he's just 19 years of age, growing in confidence after each and every single game, Ruben Amorim has trusted him in the heart of the back line. I think this was his 4th or 5th start in a row, showing that the manager has a lot of faith and trust in Aiden Heaven. And I think ever since I've seen Aiden Heaven play for us, We signed him from Arsenal in January of this year, the start of the year. Dare I say, I think he's a bigger talent than, and he has a higher ceiling than Lenny Yoro. I know you can scrutinize me, you can do whatever you want. That's just my opinion. I think Aiden Heaven has a lot more qualities than Lenny Yoro as a centre half. Defensively, I think Aiden Heaven at this moment is a better defender than Lenny Yoro. I think carrying the ball, Aiden Heaven is a lot better than Lenny Yoro already at this age. I think his passing tremendous, line breaking passes through the midfield, which I haven't seen Lenny Yoro do that much so far. I can probably say Lenny Yoro probably sprays the ball out to the wing a lot better maybe than Aiden Heaven, because I haven't seen Aiden Heaven completing or trying to attempt those passes more as often as I've seen Lenny Yoro complete those passes. But apart from that, even the composure that Aiden Heaven shows at this age is tremendous. I can recall 3 or 4 instances where the Newcastle attackers or the strikers, in the first half and second half, it was Voltemada as well as Vissa. Both were trying to press Aiden Heaven, but this man is cool as a cucumber. He was so composed. He just moved the ball to the other direction rather than passing the ball back to the keeper, which most of the centre halves or most of the defenders, including Lenny Yoro, does do. As it's like a safety pass, right? Going back to the keeper and the keeper clearing it out. But Aiden Heaven just shows so much maturity and calmness, which is so surprising for his tender age. Him going past the man Vissa and Voltemada, meaning that there's one less defender for Newcastle, and then he can kind of build an attack for Manchester United. That's a quality that, in my opinion, you cannot teach. That's something that's got to be inbuilt in you. And Aiden Heaven definitely has it. I think it's welcome back to Licha Martinez, firstly. Argentinian beast, the hero, the butcher of Manchester, Licha Martinez. His first start ever since his ACL injury, ever since he's recovered from his ACL injury, and him having the captain's armband, that's the kind of leader Manchester United deserves. That's the kind of leader Manchester United has always had ever since the 80s. It was Brian Robson, or to the early 90s. We had Steve Bruce as well. He was a stud at the back. He was a beast, a man mountain. Then Roy Keane, the greatest captain in the history of English football, and in my opinion, the greatest captain ever to grace football. Then we had Gary Neville, who learnt of Roy Keane, who as well was a ferocious stud, a mank through and through. Then Nemanja Vidic. Nemanja Vidic, the Serbian beast, the Serbian monster, the Serbian killer. That's who we also had as a leader. Then Wayne Rooney. These are the kind of players I'm talking about being leaders of Manchester United. I know Bruno Fernandes is a great player. He's been a great servant to the club. He's done a lot of things right, and probably our best signing, not probably, 100% our best signing post Alex Ferguson's retirement. But in my opinion, he's not a leader. He's not a person, in my opinion, who should have the captain's armband, because I do not see the traits in Bruno Fernandes that I see in Licha Martinez or I see in Matthias de Ligt. And it was such a feel good moment for me, but I'm not sure about the rest of the fans because I can't speak for them. But at least for me, because seeing an actual leader, a butcher, a guy who will give everything on the field, a guy who's ready to fight for his teammates in Licha Martinez, to see him with the captain's armband, I was super happy. And also, congrats to you, Licha Martinez. But then in the second half, I think Newcastle United, they were the ones who were pressing us. They were the ones who were attacking us. They were the ones who were creating all the chances. Although they weren't chances that were clear cut, in my honest opinion. But still, we weren't creating chances in the second half. We set up as a low block, a park the bus kind of kind of style, formation of 4-3-3 to start the second half until the first 15 minutes of the game. I think in the first 15 minutes of the second half, I think we had like 21% of the possession and Newcastle at 79% of the possession. That itself can tell you that okay, Newcastle United were the team that were at least dominating in possession and trying to get an equalizer, or maybe even try and win the game at Old Trafford, because Newcastle United over the last 6 fixtures or over the last 3 to 4 years have had a much better head-to-head against us, not just at St James's Park but overall even at Old Trafford. So Newcastle gave it their all in the second half. We set up as a 4-3-3 for the first 15 minutes, and then this is why this is the second time I was critical about Amorim. Why would you remove Casemiro and bring on Lenny Yoro? The same Lenny Yoro who's been short of confidence, the same Lenny Yoro who's been costing us points in the last few weeks, the same Lenny Yoro who in my opinion needs a break to maybe find his confidence back, to find his mojo back, to find the potential back. The potential that Lenny Yoro has, I think he does have a high ceiling. Lenny Yoro is a player who Real Madrid also pushed for to sign alongside us in the 2024 summer transfer window. That just shows how highly rated Lenny Yoro is. But in this moment in time, I think it's not right to put Lenny Yoro in such a situation against a Newcastle team who are physical, a team that are very physical, a team that are always onto your face, a team that wants to are ready to pounce on a mistake committed by a player. And then Newcastle also are a team that are the strongest in the midfield. Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali, Jacob Ramsey played in this game. In came Joelinton also in the second half. These are physical beasts as well as players with a lot of speed, a lot of stamina, ready to give their all, a lot of athleticism. And that's why I think we shouldn't have lost Casemiro in the midfield, given that we were able to control Newcastle with Ugarte, with Casemiro, and with Mason Mount in the first half. And in the second half, with Jack Fletcher also coming in place of Mount. Hopefully, he hasn't picked up an injury, man. I'll be honest with you, Mount being substituted in the after the halftime whistle means that he's probably injured. Let's be honest. We have seen this way too many times. But anyhow, Jack Fletcher came on playing with the two, and removing Casemiro I think wasn't a smart choice, given that Jack Fletcher is just an 18-year-old making his second appearance for Manchester United in the heart of the midfield. And pairing him with Ugarte I think is a crime. Honestly, that should be a 2-year prison, to send Amorim to the prison for 2 years, honestly, because who the hell would do that? But anyhow, he brought on Lenny Yoro, changed the whole system back to his preferred 3-4-3 or whatever you want to call it, 3-4-2-1, whatever the formation you want to call it, with Lenny Yoro slotting on the right hand side of the three centre half positions. Licha Martinez left centre half, Aiden Heaven in the middle. And then that prompted Dorgu to switch from his right wing position to the left wing back role. Diogo Dalot as the right wing back, Ugarte, Jack Fletcher in the middle, and obviously Šeško was also taken off for Zirkzee. So Zirkzee was a striker with Cunha also behind him. So basically he just changed the entirety of the team. Now, I'll be honest with you, Lenny Yoro, in my opinion, didn't put out a good performance. I know we won the game 1-0. I'm not going to rant on this. I'm not going to rip apart the player. But truth behold, Lenny Yoro, in my opinion, was getting skinned by Anthony Gordon on the wing with ease, in my opinion, on the left-hand side of him. Anthony Gordon using his pace, delivering the cross almost every single time against Lenny Yoro, which was not a good sight, honestly. And even Diogo Dalot didn't support Lenny Yoro at all. He didn't help him out at all. Something that a so-called leader that Diogo Dalot is supposed to do. I don't think he helped him out at all. He was honestly the worst player for us on the field, getting skinned by Anthony Gordon on every single occasion. He made him. He basically cooked up Diogo Dalot, and I'll be honest with you, ate him up also in game, literally. That's how cheeks Diogo Dalot was in the game. But anyhow, I'll be honest with you. I'm happy with the way the team were able to hold out the clean sheet. This is just our second clean sheet of the season, and the first since October. And this is our first win at Old Trafford since October. So I mean, a team like Manchester United, not just a team like Manchester United. If a team wants to win the big trophies, if the team wants to win the leagues, if the team wants to be at the top, your home form must be almost flawless. Your home At home, you should be able to pick up most of your points. Out of the 19 games that a team plays at home, if you want to be the top of the top, if you want to be the best team in the country, you cannot lose more than one game or two. You cannot lose more than 2 games at home in the whole season. And now, not just about losing, you cannot also have a lot of draws at home. In my opinion, if you're not able to pick a lot of points at home, then you can never be a team challenging for the title. And this is what we must change at Manchester United. Over the years, we've won 13 Premier League titles since 92. And every single time our home record has been tremendous. Teams used to be frightened to get in to play at the Theatre of Dreams. This is a place where we used to massacre teams. This is a place where we used to kill the confidence of the teams. We used to kill the confidence of our title contenders, of our title challengers. This is where we used to kill them. But now it's like a hunting ground for all the other teams. It's like easy prey. These guys are easy prey, man. Easy money. And they hunt us down. And they beat us more often than not. And that's what has to change at Manchester United. Our home record. That must be addressed as soon as possible, and hopefully Amorim will be able to build something in the years to come, and change the fortune of the club. That's what I pray and hope Amorim is able to do. But anyhow, I'm super happy with the team spirit shown by the team, by the players. Sorry. I think they gave their all on the field. They were committed to not let Newcastle get the equalizer, and they were successful in doing so. I think Senna Lomans, having him in goal is a breath of fresh air, literally. He's so much of an upgrade on Bayindir and Onana combined, literally. The way he commands himself in the box, the way he collects the crosses, the way he collects the ball from the corners, the way he collects the ball off a shot, the way he's able to punch the ball or push the ball away from danger, the way he's able to even make a lot of saves. See, I'm not saying a keeper has to make every single save. That's literally not possible. But do your job to your fullest. That's all I'm asking for a keeper to do. A keeper is supposed to know how to catch the ball. A keeper is supposed to know how to distribute the ball. The keeper is supposed to know how to position himself when it comes to a player crossing the ball from the field. When a player is crossing the ball from a corner kick, from a free kick, you know what I'm saying. So having Senna Lomans, I think he's been a revelation for us, and I hope this can continue for the years to come. And given that he's just 23 years old, I hope he can have a successful career at Manchester United for the next 10 to 15 years. So all the best to you, Senna Lomans. I think you are one of the 3 best players for us on the field. For me, the 3 best players were Aiden Heaven, Licha Martinez, and Senna Lomans. But huge congratulations to Manchester United. Huge congratulations to all the fans. Hopefully you had a great festivity period, Christmas, Boxing Day, Christmas Eve. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and Manchester United capping it off with a win. I think the fans would have been delighted and would have had a great night's sleep as well. Anyhow, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm just 20 subscribers away from 150 subscribers, and you know what I'm gonna do next. Anyhow, I'll see you lot soon. I'm out. Peace.